Hello and welcome to the English Podcast. I'm Adam, and today we have a very special episode for you. We're going to explore how America became a powerful and developed country. This journey is fascinating, and we have a lot to cover.
Hi everyone, I'm Julia. We are so excited to have you with us today. This episode is designed for English learners, so we'll be using simple words and sentences. Whether you're just starting to learn English or looking to improve, this podcast will help you.
To make this episode even more special, we have a distinguished guest with us. Dr. Sarah Johnson is a professor of American history. She has spent years studying and teaching about the history of the United States, and she's here to share her insights with us.
Welcome, Dr. Johnson. We are thrilled to have you on the English Globe podcast.
Thank you, Adam and Julia. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to discuss America's journey to becoming a global power and to help your listeners learn more about this important topic.
For those tuning in, here's what we'll be covering in today's podcast. We'll start with a look at the historical context from early American history to the American Revolution and the formation of the Constitution. Then we'll move on to economic growth during the Industrial Revolution and the rise of manufacturing and innovation.
Next, we'll talk about immigration and diversity and how different immigrant groups have contributed to American culture and economy. We'll also discuss America's military and global influence, including its role in world wars and the Cold War era.
We'll then explore technological advancements, like the space race and the rise of Silicon Valley, followed by political and social movements, such as the Civil Rights Movement. We'll also touch on America's cultural influence through Hollywood, music, and literature.
After that, we'll delve into economic policies and global trade, examining key policies driving growth and America's role in the global economy. Finally, we'll have an in-depth discussion with Dr. Johnson, where she'll share her insights and answer some of our questions.
We hope this overview gives you a clear picture of what's ahead. There's a lot to learn, and we're excited to take this journey with you. So, let's get started.
Segment 1, Historical Context.
Now, let's dive into the historical context of America's rise to power. To understand how America became a powerful and developed country, we need to start from the beginning. Early American history, colonization, and independence.
Yes, the story of America begins with the arrival of European settlers. In the early 1600s, people from Europe, especially from England, came to North America. They established colonies along the eastern coast. These colonies were a mix of different groups, some seeking religious freedom, others looking for new opportunities and land.
One of the most famous early settlements was Jamestown, founded in Virginia in 1607. It was the first permanent English settlement in North America. Life was very tough for these early settlers. They faced harsh winters, disease, and conflicts with Native American tribes. Despite these challenges, the colonies grew and more people came.
By the mid-1700s, there were 13 colonies. Each colony had its own government, but was under the control of the British Crown. Over time, the colonists started to feel that they were not being treated fairly by Britain. They had to pay taxes, but had no say in how they were governed. This led to growing discontent and calls for independence.
The tension between the colonies and Britain reached a breaking point in the 1770s. The American Revolution began in 1775. The colonists, or patriots, fought for their independence from British rule. The Revolution was a difficult and bloody conflict, but it was also a time of great courage and determination.
One of the key events during the Revolution was the Declaration of Independence, written by Thomas Jefferson and adopted on July 4, 1776. This document declared that the 13 colonies were now independent states and no longer under British rule. It emphasized the principles of liberty, equality, and democracy.
The American Revolution lasted until 1783, when the Treaty of Paris was signed. This treaty officially ended the war and recognized the sovereignty of the United States. Winning the revolution was a significant achievement, but it was just the beginning. The new nation faced many challenges as it tried to establish itself.
After gaining independence, the next major step was the formation of a stable and effective government. The Articles of Confederation were the first attempt, but they proved to be too weak. The national government lacked the power to tax and regulate commerce, which led to many problems.
In 1787, delegates from the states met in Philadelphia to create a new constitution. This meeting is known as the Constitutional Convention. The result was the United States Constitution, a document that established the framework for the federal government and its relationship with the states and citizens.
The Constitution introduced a system of checks and balances with 3 branches of government: the legislative branch, Congress, the executive branch, the President, and the judicial branch, the Supreme Court. This system was designed to prevent any one branch from becoming too powerful.
The Constitution also included a Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments that guarantee fundamental rights and freedoms, such as freedom of speech, religion, and the press. These rights are central to American values and have shaped the country's legal and political landscape.
Creating the Constitution was not easy. There were many debates and compromises, but in the end, it provided a strong foundation for the new nation. It helped unite the states and provided a blueprint for growth and development.
So in summary, early American history, from colonization and independence to the formation of the United States Constitution, laid the groundwork for the nation's rise. The determination and vision of the early settlers and leaders set the stage for America to grow into a powerful and prosperous country.
Now that we've covered the historical context, let's move on to the next segment where we'll discuss America's economic growth during the Industrial Revolution and how it contributed to the country's development. Segment 2: Economic Growth.
Now let's explore how America's economic growth played a crucial role in its rise to power. This segment will cover the Industrial Revolution and its effects on America's economy, the rise of manufacturing and innovation, and key economic policies that impacted growth.
The Industrial Revolution began in the late 18th century and brought significant changes to the American economy. Before this period, most people in America lived in rural areas and worked in agriculture. However, the Industrial Revolution marked a shift towards industrialization and urbanization.
One of the key factors driving this change was the introduction of new technologies and machinery. Innovations like the cotton gin, invented by Eli Whitney in 1793, revolutionized the production of cotton by making it much faster and more efficient. This had a huge impact on the American South, where cotton became a major cash crop.
In the North, the rise of factories and mills transformed the economy. Textile mills, like those in Lowell, Massachusetts, became centers of production. These mills employed many workers, including women and children, who moved from rural areas to cities for jobs. This shift from agriculture to industry marked the beginning of America's journey to becoming an economic powerhouse.
The growth of manufacturing didn't stop with textiles. The development of the steam engine and the expansion of railroads in the 19th century further boosted industrial growth. Railroads connected different parts of the country, making it easier to transport goods and people. This not only stimulated trade but also opened up new markets and resources.
Innovation was another key driver of economic growth. Inventors like Thomas Edison and Alexander Graham Bell made groundbreaking contributions with inventions such as the electric light bulb and the telephone. These innovations not only improved daily life, but also created new industries and job opportunities.
As America industrialized, it also developed a strong financial sector to support economic growth. Banks and financial institutions played a critical role in providing capital for businesses to expand and innovate. The creation of the New York Stock Exchange in 1792 marked the beginning of America's financial markets.
Key economic policies also had a significant impact on America's growth. For example, the establishment of a national banking system during the Civil War helped stabilize the economy and provide a uniform currency. The Homestead Act of 1862 encouraged westward expansion by providing land to settlers, which boosted agriculture and created new economic opportunities.
The Morrill Act of 1862 also played an important role by establishing land-grant colleges, which promoted education in agriculture and the mechanical arts. This investment in education helped develop a skilled workforce that could contribute to industrial growth and innovation.
The late 19th and early 20th centuries saw further economic expansion. The rise of big businesses and corporations, such as Standard Oil and Carnegie Steel, transformed the American economy. These companies took advantage of economies of scale to dominate their industries and drive economic growth.
However, this period of rapid industrialization and economic growth also brought challenges. The rise of monopolies and trusts led to calls for regulation. In response, the government enacted antitrust laws, such as the Sherman Antitrust Act of 1890, to promote competition and prevent unfair business practices.
Despite these challenges, America's economy continued to grow. The development of infrastructure, such as the Transcontinental Railroad, further integrated the national economy and facilitated the movement of goods and people across the country.
The early 20th century saw continued innovation and growth. The introduction of the assembly line by Henry Ford revolutionized manufacturing and made products like automobiles more affordable for the average American. This era also saw the rise of consumer culture and the growth of new industries, such as advertising and entertainment.
World War I and World War II had significant impacts on America's economy. The wars stimulated industrial production and technological innovation, and America emerged from World War II as a global economic leader. The post-war period saw unprecedented economic growth, with rising incomes, increased consumer spending, and the expansion of the middle class.
Key economic policies, such as the New Deal programs during the Great Depression and the GI Bill after World War II, played important roles in supporting economic growth and stability. These policies helped create jobs, provide education and housing, and support infrastructure development.
In summary, America's economic growth was driven by industrialization, innovation, and key economic policies. This growth transformed the country from a largely agrarian society to a leading industrial power. The rise of manufacturing, the development of infrastructure, and the creation of a strong financial sector were all critical factors in America's economic success.
Now that we've explored the economic growth that fueled America's rise, let's move on to the next segment where we'll discuss immigration and diversity and how they contributed to America's development.
Segment 3, Immigration and Diversity.
In this segment, we'll discuss the vital role of immigration in building a diverse society in America. We'll also look at the contributions of different immigrant groups to American culture and the economy, as well as the challenges and opportunities they faced.
America has long been known as a nation of immigrants. From the early days of European settlement to the present, people from around the world have come to the United States seeking new opportunities and a better life. This wave of immigration has profoundly shaped the country's social, cultural, and economic landscape.
The first significant wave of immigrants came from Europe in the 19th century. Millions of people from Ireland, Germany, Italy, and other European countries arrived in the United States. They brought with them diverse cultures, languages, and traditions, enriching the American social fabric.
Irish immigrants, for example, played a crucial role in building America's infrastructure. Many worked on railroads, canals, and in factories, contributing to the nation's rapid industrialization. German immigrants, on the other hand, brought advanced farming techniques and established thriving communities in the Midwest, boosting agricultural productivity.
In addition to Europeans, there was also significant immigration from Asia. Chinese immigrants, for example, were instrumental in constructing the Transcontinental Railroad in the mid-19th century. Despite facing harsh conditions and discrimination, they made vital contributions to the country's infrastructure and economy.
Similarly, Japanese immigrants settled on the West Coast, where they established successful agricultural businesses. They introduced new farming methods and crops, which enriched American agriculture. Over time, these communities grew and became an integral part of the American mosaic.
The late 19th and early 20th centuries saw a new wave of immigrants from Southern and Eastern Europe. People from countries like Poland, Russia, and Greece arrived in large numbers. Many of them settled in urban areas and worked in factories, contributing to the growth of American cities and industries.
One of the most significant periods of immigration was during the early 20th century, when Ellis Island in New York Harbor became the gateway for millions of immigrants. This era of mass immigration helped fuel America's economic growth and cultural diversity.
These immigrant groups brought with them rich cultural traditions, which have had a lasting impact on American society. They introduced new foods, music, and customs, creating a vibrant, multicultural society. For example, Italian immigrants popularized foods like pizza and pasta, which are now staples of American cuisine.
Jewish immigrants from Eastern Europe contributed significantly to American arts, science, and business. Many became successful entrepreneurs, scientists, and artists, enriching American culture and advancing technological and scientific progress.
Immigration also brought significant economic benefits. Immigrants often took on jobs that were in high demand, filling critical labor shortages in various industries. They started businesses, created jobs, and contributed to economic innovation and growth. Immigrant entrepreneurs have founded some of the most successful companies in America, driving economic progress and technological advancements.
Despite their contributions, immigrants have also faced significant challenges. Many experienced discrimination, prejudice, and harsh living and working conditions. Laws like the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882 and the Immigration Act of 1924 sought to limit immigration from certain countries, reflecting the nativist sentiments of the time.
However, immigrants have continually overcome these challenges and have found opportunities to thrive. Over time, American society has become more inclusive and accepting of diverse cultures. Civil rights movements and changes in immigration laws have helped reduce discrimination and create a more welcoming environment for immigrants.
Today, immigration continues to play a vital role in America's development. Immigrants from Latin America, Asia, Africa, and other regions bring fresh perspectives, skills, and ideas. They contribute to the economy, enrich the cultural landscape, and help drive innovation in various fields.
In summary, immigration has been a cornerstone of America's growth and diversity. The contributions of different immigrant groups have shaped the nation's culture, economy, and society. Despite facing challenges, immigrants have found opportunities to succeed and have played a crucial role in building America into the global power it is today.
Now that we've explored the impact of immigration and diversity, let's move on to our next segment where we'll discuss America's military and global influence and how these factors have contributed to its rise as a superpower. Segment 4: Military and Global Influence.
Now let's discuss America's military and global influence, a key factor in its rise to power. We'll cover America's role in World Wars I and II, the Cold War era, and the establishment of the U.S. as a superpower, as well as modern military interventions and its global presence.
America's involvement in World War I marked its emergence as a significant global player. The U.S. initially remained neutral when the war began in 1914, but several factors led to its entry in 1917. One major factor was the unrestricted submarine warfare by Germany, which threatened American ships and lives. The Zimmermann Telegram, in which Germany proposed a military alliance with Mexico against the U.S., also played a crucial role. America's involvement in World War I marked its emergence as a significant global player. The U.S. initially remained neutral when the war began in 1914, but several factors led to its entry in 1917. One major factor was the unrestricted submarine warfare by Germany, which threatened American ships and lives. The Zimmermann Telegram, in which Germany proposed a military alliance with Mexico against the U.S., also played a crucial role.
When the U.S. entered the war, it provided much-needed support to the Allies through troops, resources, and supplies. American forces helped turn the tide against the Central Powers, leading to the eventual victory of the Allies in 1918. The Treaty of Versailles ended the war, and the U.S. emerged with greater influence on the global stage.
World War II further solidified America's status as a global power. The U.S. entered the war in 1941 after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. America's industrial capacity played a significant role in the Allied victory. Factories shifted to war production, creating an arsenal of democracy that supplied the Allies with tanks, planes, and other critical war materials.
American troops fought in major battles across Europe, Africa, and the Pacific. The D-Day invasion in 1944, where American forces landed in Normandy, France, was a turning point in the war. The eventual defeat of Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan showcased America's military might and strategic capabilities.
The end of World War II saw the beginning of the Cold War, a period of geopolitical tension between the United States and the Soviet Union. The Cold War era was characterized by the ideological conflict between capitalism, represented by the US, and communism, represented by the Soviet Union. This period saw a significant expansion of American military and political influence globally.
One of the key aspects of the Cold War was the policy of containment, aimed at preventing the spread of communism. The U.S. provided economic and military aid to countries resisting communist influence, such as through the Marshall Plan, which helped rebuild Western Europe, and the Truman Doctrine, which supported Greece and Turkey.
The Cold War also saw the establishment of military alliances. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, was formed in 1949, creating a collective defense pact between the US and several Western European nations. This alliance was a key element in deterring Soviet aggression and maintaining stability in Europe.
The Cold War wasn't just about military alliances and economic aid. It also involved a race for technological and scientific superiority. The space race was a notable example, where the US and the Soviet Union competed to achieve milestones in space exploration. The US landing the first man on the moon in 1969 was a significant victory in this competition.
Throughout the Cold War, the US engaged in various military interventions to counter communist influence. These included the Korean War in the early 1950s, where American forces fought to defend South Korea from a communist invasion by North Korea, and the Vietnam War, which aimed to prevent the spread of communism in Southeast Asia.
The end of the Cold War came with the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991. This marked the US as the world's sole superpower. The post-Cold War era saw America leading efforts to promote democracy, economic development, and peacekeeping around the world.
Modern military interventions have further demonstrated America's global presence. The Gulf War in 1991, for instance, saw a coalition led by the US liberate Kuwait from Iraqi occupation. This conflict highlighted the US military's advanced technology and strategic capabilities.
The events of September 11, 2001, brought about a new focus on combating terrorism. The US launched the War on Terror, which included the invasion of Afghanistan in 2001 to dismantle the Taliban regime and eliminate al-Qaeda's safe havens. In 2003, the US led a coalition to invade Iraq, aiming to remove Saddam Hussein from power and eliminate alleged weapons of mass destruction.
These interventions have been controversial and have faced both support and criticism. They have involved significant human and economic costs, but they also reflect America's role in addressing global security challenges and its commitment to promoting stability.
Today, the US maintains a substantial global military presence with bases and troops stationed around the world. This presence supports international security, deters potential adversaries, and allows for rapid response to crises. It also underscores America's role as a global leader in maintaining peace and stability.
In summary, America's military and global influence have been pivotal in its rise to power. From its involvement in world wars to the Cold War and modern interventions, the US has demonstrated its strategic, military, and political capabilities. This influence continues to shape global dynamics and reinforces America's position as a leading global power.
Now that we've explored America's military and global influence, let's move on to the next segment, where we'll discuss technological advancements and how they have contributed to America's development. Stay tuned.
Segment 5. Technological Advancements.
In this segment, we'll delve into the significant technological advancements that have propelled America's development as a global leader. We'll explore key innovations and their impact worldwide, the space race and America's achievements in space exploration, and the emergence of Silicon Valley and its tech giants.
Technological innovation has been a cornerstone of America's success, driving economic growth, scientific advancement, and global influence. One of the most transformative innovations was the development of the Internet. Initially a military project called ARPANET, it evolved into a global network that revolutionized communication and information access worldwide.
Another groundbreaking innovation was the development of the microprocessor. In 1971, Intel introduced the first microprocessor, which paved the way for the computer revolution. Microprocessors enabled the creation of smaller, more powerful computers, leading to advancements in computing power, speed, and efficiency.
The invention of the personal computer, PC, in the 1980s further democratized computing. Companies like Apple and Microsoft pioneered user-friendly interfaces and software applications that made PCs accessible to businesses and individuals. This revolutionized how people work, communicate, and access information.
The space race between the United States and the Soviet Union in the mid-20th century was another pivotal moment for technological advancement. In 1969, the U.S. achieved a historic milestone when Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to walk on the moon during the Apollo 11 mission. This achievement demonstrated America's technological prowess and sparked new frontiers in space exploration.
The space program not only inspired scientific discovery, but also spurred innovation in aerospace engineering, materials science, and computer technology. Technologies developed for space missions, such as satellite communications and GPS navigation, have become integral to everyday life and global connectivity.
Silicon Valley, located in California, emerged as a hub for technological innovation and entrepreneurship. Companies like Google, Apple, Facebook, and Amazon, known as the tech giants, have revolutionized industries and shaped the digital age. These companies have pioneered innovations in software, hardware, artificial intelligence, and digital services that have transformed how we live, work, and interact.
The entrepreneurial spirit and culture of innovation in Silicon Valley have attracted talent from around the world and fostered a dynamic ecosystem of startups and venture capital investment. This ecosystem continues to drive technological breakthroughs and economic growth, positioning Silicon Valley as a global leader in innovation.
In addition to Silicon Valley, other regions across the United States have also contributed to technological advancements. Research institutions, universities, and government agencies collaborate with industry to develop cutting-edge technologies in fields such as biotechnology, renewable energy, and advanced manufacturing.
Technological advancements have not only enhanced America's economic competitiveness, but also addressed global challenges. Innovations in healthcare, renewable energy, and environmental sustainability have the potential to improve quality of life and promote sustainable development worldwide.
In summary, America's technological advancements have played a crucial role in its development as a global leader. From the internet and microprocessors to space exploration and Silicon Valley innovations, these advancements have transformed industries, spurred economic growth, and shaped the digital age. America's commitment to innovation continues to drive progress and influence global technological trends.
Now that we've explored technological advancements, let's move on to our next segment, where we'll discuss political and social movements in America and their impact on the nation's development. Segment 6: Political and Social Movements.
In this segment, we'll explore the profound impact of political and social movements on America's development. We'll discuss the civil rights movement and its significance in promoting equality and justice, major political changes and reforms that have shaped the nation, and how social movements continue to influence modern America.
The civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s was a pivotal moment in American history. Led by courageous leaders such as Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, and Malcolm X, the movement aimed to end racial segregation and discrimination against African Americans. Through non-violent protests, marches, and legal challenges, activists sought to secure equal rights under the law.
One of the landmark achievements of the civil rights movement was the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which outlawed discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. This legislation marked a significant step towards equality and justice, although the struggle for civil rights continues to this day.
The Voting Rights Act of 1965 was another key achievement of the civil rights movement. It aimed to overcome legal barriers at the state and local levels that prevented African Americans from exercising their right to vote. This legislation helped empower African American voters and ensure greater political representation.
The civil rights movement not only challenged discriminatory laws and practices, but also sparked broader social change. It inspired movements for women's rights, LGBTQ+ rights, and the rights of other marginalized groups. These movements have sought to expand civil liberties, promote equality, and create a more inclusive society.
Major political changes and reforms have also shaped America's development. Throughout its history, the U.S. has experienced periods of political upheaval and reform. For example, the progressive era in the early 20th century saw efforts to address social and economic inequalities through reforms such as antitrust laws, labor protections, and consumer rights.
The New Deal programs implemented during the Great Depression under President Franklin D. Roosevelt aimed to provide relief, recovery, and reform. Programs such as Social Security and the Tennessee Valley Authority helped stabilize the economy, provide jobs, and create a social safety net for Americans facing hardship.
In more recent times, the civil rights movement and other social movements have influenced legislative and policy changes. The women's rights movement of the 1960s and 1970s led to landmark legislation, such as Title IX, which prohibited discrimination based on sex in education programs and activities receiving federal financial assistance.
Social movements continue to shape modern America by addressing issues such as environmental protection, healthcare reform, and immigration policy. Movements advocating for climate action, universal healthcare, and immigrant rights have mobilized grassroots support and influenced public opinion and policy decisions.
The Black Lives Matter movement, founded in 2013, has brought renewed attention to racial inequality and police violence against African Americans. Protests and demonstrations across the country have called for systemic reforms to address racial injustice and promote accountability in law enforcement.
Social media and digital platforms have played a significant role in amplifying the voices of social movements and facilitating grassroots organizing. Activists use these tools to raise awareness, mobilize supporters, and pressure policymakers to enact change.
In summary, political and social movements have played a crucial role in shaping America's development and advancing principles of equality, justice, and democracy. From the civil rights movement to contemporary movements for social change, these movements have driven progress, challenged norms, and shaped the nation's identity.
Now that we've explored the impact of political and social movements, let's move on to our next segment where we'll discuss America's cultural influence globally and its soft power.
Segment 7: Cultural Influence.
In this segment, we'll explore America's cultural influence and its impact on the global stage. We'll discuss Hollywood and the global film industry, American music and its worldwide reach, and the influence of American literature and art.
Hollywood has played a significant role in shaping global entertainment and culture. As the epicenter of the film industry, Hollywood produces a vast array of movies that captivate audiences worldwide. American films are known for their storytelling, special effects, and star power, attracting viewers from diverse cultures and languages.
The global success of Hollywood films has made American cinema a cultural ambassador around the world. Blockbuster franchises like Marvel Studios' superhero films and iconic franchises such as Star Wars have achieved massive popularity globally, influencing popular culture and inspiring fans across continents.
In addition to Hollywood blockbusters, independent films and documentaries have also made an impact, showcasing diverse perspectives and stories. Film festivals like Sundance and Cannes provide platforms for independent filmmakers to reach international audiences and contribute to global cinematic diversity.
American music has also had a profound influence on global culture. From jazz and blues to rock and roll, hip-hop and pop, American music genres have resonated with audiences worldwide. Artists like Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, Madonna, and Beyoncé have achieved global fame and influenced musical trends and styles.
Hip-hop, born in the Bronx in the 1970s, has become a global phenomenon, transcending borders and languages. Artists like Jay-Z, Eminem, and Kanye West have not only dominated charts, but also shaped fashion, language, and youth culture worldwide. Hip-hop's influence extends beyond music to art, dance, and social activism.
American literature and art have also made significant contributions to global culture. Writers such as Ernest Hemingway, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Toni Morrison, and Maya Angelou have produced works that explore the American experience and resonate with readers around the world. Their novels, poems, and essays have been translated into numerous languages and studied in schools and universities worldwide.
American art movements, such as abstract expressionism and pop art, have influenced modern art globally. Artists like Jackson Pollock, Andy Warhol, and Jean-Michel Basquiat challenged traditional artistic boundaries and redefined artistic expression. Their works are exhibited in museums and galleries worldwide, showcasing America's artistic innovation and creativity.
The digital age has further amplified America's cultural influence through social media, streaming platforms, and digital content. Online platforms like YouTube, Netflix, and Instagram allow artists and creators to reach global audiences instantly, sharing their music, films, art, and creative projects with the world.
In summary, America's cultural influence spans across film, music, literature, and art, shaping global trends and sparking creative dialogue worldwide. Hollywood's blockbuster films, American music genres, and influential literary works have made an indelible mark on global culture, reflecting America's creativity, diversity, and innovation.
Now that we've explored America's cultural influence, let's move on to our final segment, where we'll reflect on America's global legacy and its future role on the world stage.
Segment 8: Economic Policies and Global Trade.
Welcome to this segment where we'll dive into America's economic policies and its role in global trade and economy. We'll explore the key economic policies driving growth, America's position in global trade, and the challenges and future prospects ahead.
America's economic policies have historically focused on fostering growth and innovation. Key policies such as fiscal stimulus packages, monetary policy adjustments by the Federal Reserve, and tax reforms have aimed to stimulate economic activity, encourage investment, and create jobs.
For instance, during times of economic downturns like the Great Depression in the 1930s and the 2008 financial crisis, the U.S. government implemented stimulus measures to stabilize the economy. These measures included infrastructure projects, financial sector bailouts, and tax cuts to boost consumer spending.
In recent decades, policies promoting deregulation and free market principles have shaped America's economic landscape. Deregulation in sectors like telecommunications, banking, and energy has aimed to promote competition, lower prices, and spur innovation.
America's role in global trade has been significant, with the United States being one of the largest economies and a major player in international trade agreements. The North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, and the more recent United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, have facilitated trade and investment among North American countries.
The US is also a member of international organizations like the World Trade Organization, WTO, which sets global trade rules and resolves trade disputes among member countries. American businesses benefit from access to global markets, while American consumers enjoy a wide variety of goods and services from around the world.
However, America's role in global trade has faced challenges, including trade deficits, protectionist measures, and geopolitical tensions. Trade deficits occur when the value of imports exceeds exports, leading to concerns about job losses and economic competitiveness.
In recent years, there has been a shift towards more protectionist policies, with tariffs and trade barriers imposed on certain imports to protect domestic industries. These measures aim to reduce reliance on foreign goods and promote domestic manufacturing and job creation.
Looking ahead, America's economic future holds both challenges and opportunities. The rapid pace of technological innovation, such as advancements in artificial intelligence, renewable energy, and digital commerce, presents opportunities for economic growth and productivity gains.
However, challenges such as income inequality, demographic changes, and global economic uncertainties pose risks to America's economic stability. Addressing these challenges will require policies that promote inclusive growth, workforce development, and sustainable economic practices.
In conclusion, America's economic policies and role in global trade have shaped its position as a leading global economic power. As the landscape evolves, navigating challenges and seizing opportunities will be crucial for sustaining economic growth and prosperity.
Thank you for joining us in this discussion on economic policies and global trade. In our final segment, we'll reflect on America's global legacy and its future role on the world stage. Segment 9. Guest discussion and insights.
Welcome back to our podcast. In this segment, we have the pleasure of hosting Dr. Sarah Johnson, an expert in international relations and global economics. Dr. Johnson, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Adam and Julia. It's a pleasure to be here.
Dr. Johnson, we've discussed America's journey to becoming a global power, from historical milestones to economic policies and cultural influence. How do you perceive America's role in the global landscape today?
America's influence remains profound across various domains. Economically, the U.S. continues to be a powerhouse with its innovation-driven economy and robust trade relations. Culturally, American arts, media, and technology shape global trends and aspirations.
Given recent geopolitical shifts and economic challenges, how do you assess America's future as a global power? Are there particular areas where the U.S. could strengthen its position or face potential challenges?
Certainly. The U.S. faces both opportunities and challenges. Technological advancements, particularly in digital innovation and clean energy, offer avenues for continued leadership. However, geopolitical rivalries, trade tensions, and domestic socioeconomic disparities pose significant challenges that require careful navigation.
In terms of foreign policy and global engagement, what strategies could America adopt to maintain its global leadership while addressing these challenges?
Strategic alliances and partnerships will be crucial. Strengthening ties with traditional allies while engaging constructively with emerging powers can enhance global stability and economic prosperity. Moreover, prioritizing multilateral cooperation on issues like climate change and global health will reinforce America's role as a responsible global leader.
Looking ahead, what are your thoughts on the role of innovation and education in sustaining America's competitiveness on the global stage?
Innovation and education are fundamental. Investing in research and development, fostering a skilled workforce, and promoting inclusive economic growth will be essential. Embracing technological advancements while addressing ethical and regulatory challenges will ensure America remains at the forefront of global innovation.
As we conclude our discussion, what advice would you give to our listeners who are interested in understanding America's global influence and its future trajectory?
Stay informed and engaged. Recognize the interconnectedness of global issues and the impact of America's policies and actions. By fostering dialogue, promoting mutual understanding, and advocating for constructive solutions, individuals can contribute to shaping America's role in the world positively.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson, for your valuable insights and perspectives on America's future as a global power. It's been a privilege having you on our podcast today.
Thank you to our listeners for tuning in. We hope you found this discussion informative and insightful. Stay tuned for more episodes where we explore diverse topics on English learning and global issues. Until next time.
Welcome back, everyone, to the conclusion of today's podcast. We've had a fascinating discussion with Dr. Sarah Johnson on America's journey to becoming a global power. Let's summarize some of the key points we've explored.
Throughout this episode, we traced America's historical milestones, from its early days of colonization and independence to its pivotal role in global conflicts and economic innovations. We examined how cultural exports like Hollywood movies and American music have shaped global trends and perceptions.
Economically, we discussed America's policies and their impact on global trade, as well as the challenges and opportunities ahead in maintaining its competitive edge. We also delved into the role of technological advancements and their influence on America's standing in the world.
Johnson provided valuable insights into America's future as a global leader, emphasizing the importance of strategic alliances, innovation, and inclusive growth. Her perspectives on navigating geopolitical complexities and promoting global cooperation were particularly enlightening.
Dr. Johnson, before we conclude, do you have any final thoughts or messages you'd like to share with our listeners?
I would encourage listeners to stay informed and engaged in global issues. Understanding America's role in the world requires ongoing dialogue and awareness of both challenges and opportunities. Each of us can contribute to shaping a more interconnected and prosperous future.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson, for your valuable contributions to today's discussion. Your expertise has provided us with a deeper understanding of America's global impact and future directions.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us today. We hope you found this episode informative and thought-provoking. If you enjoyed today's discussion, be sure to subscribe to our podcast for future episodes where we explore diverse topics in English learning and global affairs.
Stay tuned for upcoming episodes where we'll continue to delve into engaging discussions and insights. Remember to subscribe to our podcast on your preferred platform and follow us on social media for updates and additional content.
That wraps up today's episode. Thank you once again for listening. Until next time, Take care and keep learning.